Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that is ready to launch its new season. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 39, Battle for a New Champion, Episode 0. This is the launch special for the upcoming seasons, and I have to say that this was actually a really fun episode, especially compared to the launch episode, Episode 0 of last season, Season 38, where we just had the 6 latecomers to the season, and they're just sitting around the table talking about the players and the newcomers and everything. This actually had some action to it, some fun editing to it, and we're going to go over this episode and some of the stuff that we saw in it, but I'm not going to go minute by minute, detail by detail, recounting this episode, because half of this episode, or more than half of this episode, is just going over who's on the cast. And I've already made a cast reveal video, and if you're watching this, you probably know everybody who was going to be on the cast prior to this launch special anyways. And so when I'm going over this episode, doing the review and recap of it, I'm just going to be touching on the major bullet points as well as some of the more interesting observations that were made in this episode. So without further ado, let's start off how this episode starts off, and that is like with an abridged version of MTV Cribs with TJ and his Las Vegas home, which is funny because I'm pretty sure TJ has an MTV Cribs episode, at least one, which I remember they tried to reboot MTV Cribs back in 2021, and TJ was the first episode. I'm pretty sure they know a ton of people did not watch that episode, so they said, might as well just show his house over again. And it's pretty funny to me because TJ, I'm sure, has not been in this home very much in the past couple of years because of how many seasons he's been on location filming for The Challenge. He's probably been in Croatia and Argentina way more in the past year and a half to 2 years than he has been just sitting at this Las Vegas home. But we do get to see his gym, his X Games medals, as well as his dirt course in his backyard. And then we get into the introductions to who is going to be on this cast via TJ calling up people one at a time. Very staged. I know TJ doesn't do that himself every single season, but it was fun to see him like call up people, say, hey, you're coming on to the next season. We see Olivia training in a firehouse. TJ calls up Raven, Colleen, Asaf. We get a cameo from Bananas when TJ calls up Mariah, which has to be a little bit awkward watching now because they are no longer together. And I'm pretty sure Mariah and Bananas weren't together when Mariah went to actually go film this season. During Chauncey's segment, we get to see Amber as well as their newborn baby, Sunny, as well as I find out that Kylan has an affinity for spreadsheets just like me. I love to see the number crunching. I love to see spreadsheets. Kylan is actually doing his research, which is good in a way. But this season, there is a ton of people that have not been on the show in quite some time, as well as only done one season, one spin-off season. So there's a lot of unpredictability to this upcoming season, which can be very fun or hopefully entertaining at certain points. Not only do we get to see TJ calling up people and telling them that they're going to be on the next season, but we also get to see everybody meeting up at the airport, having a good time, sharing some drinks, and getting excited for being on location in Croatia for The Challenge 39. Speaking of which, the cast touchdown in Croatia, get on their nicest episode 1 gear and clothes, goes down to the arena to hopefully meet up with TJ. However, TJ is not there. He is back at his Croatian apartment or Airbnb, playing the guitar and having a good chuckle because he knows that the cast is at the arena waiting for him, waiting for the game to start, yet they are just standing there, looking out over production, looking out at the arena with all of these different crates and boards that they can't read from where they're standing on the stage, and they're just confused. What are they supposed to do? Are they just supposed to stand there? Well, that's what they do. They stand there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The little timer at the bottom said 25 minutes, and then they waited a little bit longer until Mariah, Michelle, and Kylan are all talking with each other, being like, all right, something is up. We need to do something. So they start creeping off the stage, walking towards the signs, waiting to see if anybody in production stops them. And when nobody stops them, that's when the whole stampede of the cast runs out to start reading the signs. And they find out the challenge game has already started. This is their first challenge, and they have to work together to complete these tasks. One sign tells people to use their fingers to remove all the tiles from the cage, and then once they have all the tiles out, split them from people who are in the arena currently and players who are not currently in the arena, and then use that information to open up a combination lock to the crate. Another sign tells people to fill a cube full of sand and then dig for a combination to unlock another crate. During these two tasks, we see Asaf standing up, trying to get everybody organized, have all the women taking out tiles out of the cage, and then have all the men putting dirt in the giant cube. We also have Big T trying to be in a leadership type of role, but some people aren't feeling Big T, aka Berna. We also get other hints during this portion where we have Nerys, who was told by Nelson that Zara is a beast. Nelson, who got to see Zara compete in the World Championship, basically said, hey, watch out for Zara. She is going to be a tough competitor. Also, prior to this, we got to see how close Nerys and Jay are, and then they even FaceTime Nelson, who is still rehabbing from a very vicious car accident that he was in. Speaking of Jay, we hear how close Jay and Asaf are with each other. They create music outside of the house, and now they're coming into the season, and they have each other's back. At one point we hear, we would never betray each other, which could be foreshadowing. Big T was told by sources, quote unquote, to not trust Michelle, which she does not name these sources, but sources say, do not trust Michelle. And then Ed and Emmanuel are working very closely with each other. They met on season 37. This is both players' first season playing since season 37, and it sounds like they're coming in having each other's backs as well. All 24 players are working well with each other and finally get into a rhythm where they unlock every cage and open up everything. They unlock champagne and food, as well as cots for everybody to sleep on, meaning they will be sleeping in the arena. There is no mansion. There are no beds. This right here reminds me of Invasion of the Champions because in the beginning of that season, the underdogs, quote unquote, came into the show and then had to sleep in a shelter outside before being able to go into the mansion. And here we are with the players sleeping outside in the arena, and everybody is confused. They don't know why they're doing this, but ultimately, this is their fate, and everybody just accepts it. Big T makes the big speech, since she is the one player that has done the most seasons out of everybody on the cast, or everybody in the arena at this moment. And from there, we get to see everybody commingling, meet and greet, as well as hear some of the alliance talk and some of the strategy of players coming into the season. We hear that Big T and Melissa are very, very close with each other. They've been close with each other since season 35 Total Madness. We also know that Melissa is a mother, and Asaf also has family back home. He is also a dad, and so Asaf and Melissa, we see bonding over them being parents and having to leave their children back at home. I'm not gonna lie, I am very excited for both Melissa and Asaf to be on this cast, and they have been getting a ton of screen time in the trailers, in the promos, and also in this launch special. I think it's a telltale sign that they will be major players in this game, hopefully. We also get to see Michelle and Callum have sparks between each other. We also get some alliance talk between Jessica, Kieran, and I think Chauncey. Chauncey is like sitting next to Jessica and Kieran as they are having their just like alliance chat. So to me, I feel like those three are kind of vibing with each other in the arena, but Jessica and Kieran are from Bachelor Nation, Australia, and they're trying to like work together. Kieran, we find out, is single. He wasn't single in the Challenge Australia, but here he is single and he has eyes for Raven. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Speaking of Raven, there is a Challenge 38 alliance. And to me, I knew that was going to happen. The Challenge 38 had so many new players, and then a lot of those players are back for this season. So I had a feeling that they would be coming in with an understanding and initial alliance with each other. Who knows if they're going to keep with that alliance throughout the whole season, but we find out that Olivia, Mariah, Nerys, Michelle, Raven, as well as Colleen, Jay, and Horacio are definitely going to be initially looking out for each other in a Challenge 38 alliance. There is big question marks with everybody in the group about where Chauncey lies and if he will be in this alliance working with them. Now, this alliance is big and could actually do a lot of damage in this game. However, I find some kind of cracks in it just from the initial conversation here. I mean, this is night one and there's not a whole lot there needs to be done. Like, if you have an alliance, you're just saying, hey, let's work together. Let's always have each other's back, and then split up and start mingling with everybody. But the thought of like, hey, I might talk to A, B, and C starts to come up. And then Nerys is like, gets kind of angry and very opinionated, which I could feel maybe rubs some of the people the wrong way in this alliance, and it could start to form cracks as the season goes on and as paranoia starts to bump up. We'll just keep an eye on that, but there is a big Challenge 38 alliance that is already formed. We sort of end the Contenders segment of this launch special with everybody playing Spin the Bottle, which is fun. I love that we got to see like this extended scene of everybody just playing Spin the Bottle, having a good time. I can't even remember the last time I saw people playing Spin the Bottle on the challenge. I love this moment. I love that they kept this in the edit. I thought that this was a really fun launch special. From getting introductions to everybody, I thought everybody got a good amount of screen time. We got a challenge, we got alliance talk, and then we got some fun moments. And that just, to me, encapsulates the challenge. It's just a good whole fun episode to start and kick things off, and it makes me optimistic moving forward in this game. We end the launch special with seeing some of the champions, getting some introductions from them training, them getting excited, pumped up, and what we could be expecting from them when they are called upon to face somebody in the elimination. We get to see Darrell, Cara, Casey, Laurel, all of them. And then we see a giant clock in the challenge house counting down. Now, one major aspect that we learn about the game in this launch special is how this season is segmented into 3 sections. The 3 sections are Control, Chaos, and Conquest. In the first section, Control, the challengers will be working together to complete tasks in one giant team. I don't know how this will work. TJ said this is the first time ever it is done in the challenge, which I can concur. I mean, the only time there was just one giant team trying to do tasks, it was all the way back in season 1, Road Rules All-Stars. And I just don't understand how this will work at this moment. Like, is there a penalty for the whole cast not completing a task? Is there punishment for somebody who is not pulling their weight in the task? How will this work if there's just one giant team working on one task? It's kind of exciting because we've never seen this format before on the challenge, but then you kind of scratch your head being like, why have we never seen it before? How will this work? I don't know, but that's the first segment. The next one is Chaos, where they'll have all the challengers working in groups or pairs. And what's the most interesting part is that TJ then talks about the champions coming in to face off against the challengers in eliminations at this point, saying if you want to be a champion, you got to beat champions. So it kind of makes sense that segment 2, entitled Chaos, is when the champions would be introduced into the elimination process. And then the third and final section of the game is Conquest, where it is then a solo game, and that will run all the way to the end of the game because there is only going to be one new champion from this season, a la the title of the season being Battle for a New Champion, singular champion. I like the idea that we, the audience, knows what the format will be and what the twists are going to be prior. I also like that there's a giant clock in the challenge house counting down. Even if TJ and the challenge don't necessarily break down the 3 sections right at the very beginning for everybody, at least they know that there is a giant clock to expect a twist. It looks to be very intense. The daily challenges look interesting. The eliminations look fierce. It feels like there could be a lot of drama on this season. I'm praying that the challenge editors will just keep some of this drama that we're seeing in these promos. Please, oh please, let them be in the final cut, the final edit. My review of this launch special is that I really enjoyed it. I love the editing. I love that they made them do an actual challenge. I love that it wasn't just the run-of-the-mill pull up to the challenge house, everybody runs inside, grabs a bed, gets some champagne, and then just talk. And then we go from conversation to conversation to conversation all around the house. I'm glad they didn't do that this time around. I like that it felt personal in some points. I like that they actually did a challenge. There was some action. There was enough game talk, even though the game really hasn't begun yet. And I love that they had some fun moments like play Spin the Bottle, and then we hear some crushes already forming. This launch special actually got me more optimistic than I was coming into the season because, you know, looking at the cast, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of unpredictability, a lot of mystery of whether this will be entertaining enough. Who are the big personalities on the season? Will they be able to carry the season without the champs or people that we've seen on the show over and over and over again? That's still a huge question mark. I think that this launch special gave me optimism for the upcoming episodes, but this is still just the launch special. We haven't even made it to episode 1. I'm sure that there's going to be like 21 episodes to this season, possibly. And so we're in it for the long haul, but I have to say that the launch special exceeded my expectations. I actually had a really fun time with it, and I'm looking forward to the premiere next Wednesday, October 25th at 8 p.m. on MTV. But that is it for this review and recap for The Challenge Season 39, Battle for a New Champion, Launch Special, Episode 0. What'd you think about this launch special? Let me know down in the comment section below. What'd you think about them just putting everybody in the arena and telling them nothing and seeing them try to work everything out? What'd you think about that? Let me know down in the comment section below. What'd you think about the task? What do you think about the format of the season being in 3 sections of Control, Chaos, and Conquest? How do you think that will work out? Let me know down in the comment section below. And after this launch special, who are you excited to see? Who are you not excited to see? Who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting against? Let me know anything and everything you feel about this launch special and this season down in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm really wanting to hear what everybody has to say about the format of the 3 sections. Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 39 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.